Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Tired Axe Outdoors. Today we're continuing on getting ready for ice fishing season. Today we're talking about tip-ups, so stick with us. Alright guys, so today we're going to dive into tip-ups. We're going to cover the types of tip-ups, the different uses for tip-ups, how to rig them, and how to set them. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at what we got on the bench here. Alright, so right here in front of us, we've got 4 tip-ups. These are all rail-style tip-ups. We'll go into that a little bit later, but these are the ones that I primarily use. They've been around for a long time. They're reliable, they're easy to store, and they're a lot of fun to catch fish on these guys. So we're going to talk about that, and then over here we're going to talk about leaders. We're going to talk about rigging, quick strike rigs, how to set your depth markers, a couple little tricks and tips that I've come up with. All right, so it's mid-October, so obviously we don't have any ice yet here in the upper Midwest, so we're going to use this bucket to show you guys how this works. We'll pretend this is our ice hole. So, like I said, this is a rail-style tip-up. Basically, you've got your spool, you've got your upward shaft that connects to the flag, and then you've got the frame that sits on the ice. So, your flag, and your shaft going down to your spring. So, basically, how this works is your line is going to be down into the hole with your bait on it. And then as the fish pulls that line off the spool, it's going to turn this little cross tee up top. Super simple design. So we'll go ahead and we'll activate this. So we'll watch this spin. And then as the fish takes it, flag comes up. Pops up just like that. So that's your strike indicator. One more thing to point out on this style tip-up is it has a soft side here, and it has a side with this little ridge. So if it's super windy or you're fishing a big bait, you can put your flag on this side, and that'll prevent some false flags from happening. But that basically just sits in that little groove like that. You can also put it on this side here, and you can sit it, right on the edge there. Yeah, so this side you can see is a lot more loose of a set, whereas this side, it's got that little lip that it's got to pop itself out of to set that flag. Alright, so when you get to the lake, you're going to have your tip-ups stored in your bucket just like this. I fit all of my tip-ups and my tackle for the tip-ups inside this 5-gallon bucket. So like I said, they're super easy to store and keep track of. So the first thing you're going to do when you get to the lake, you're going to punch your hole, you're going to pull this out. So it's all folded up just like that. You're going to go ahead and untuck your flag, let that pop up out of the way. Then this thumb screw right here, you're going to go and loosen that. And that's going to drop this down just like that. Tighten that back up. Now this style tip-up also has this screw right here in the front. So what that does is it raises and lowers this shaft. So if you're fishing thicker ice, you're going to want to go ahead and adjust this lower like it is now. And if you're fishing thinner ice, you're going to want to go ahead and raise that up a little bit. You don't need this, really, really far down in the hole. Most of mine I set so that they sit inside of each other. This one's set a little bit deep. I'll adjust it up here so you can see what I mean. So most of mine, I sit just like this. Loosen this screw. And some models have a thumb screw here, which is pretty handy. So we'll do that. And then that slides up. And what I'll let it do is I'll flip this over. I'll let it catch right on the handle for the spool. And that'll help keep it in line and nice and tight in there. So when you drop that down, you can adjust your height. Just like this. So you can go all the way down like that. Like I said, if you're fishing thicker ice, you can raise it all the way up, if you're fishing thinner ice. Hopefully you're not fishing ice less than 4 inches, because that would be unsafe. Alright, so we'll snug this back up. Alright. So once your tip-up is set up just like this, you're going to want to go ahead and get it rigged. So if I'm fishing for pike, what I do is I run a steel leader. Let's see, this one's actually set up for a leader to be either attached to it or a leader to be able to switch over and fish for walleye or bass. So this one's just got a standard barrel swivel on it. Now, anytime you're doing tip-up fishing, if you're fishing for larger predators, you want to make sure that your hardware and your line, every component, has to be strong enough to withstand the force of that fish. So if you're fishing for big pike, you don't want to have a real light grade barrel swivel because it just won't do a good job for you. So what you can do with this is you'd be able to attach on a fluorocarbon leader. Like I said, if you're fishing for walleye or bass, you can even set tip-ups for crappie and panfish. So that gives you the versatility to do that. You can also, I've got some that are tied on with a steel leader, just like that. So I tend to go 30 pound on everything, just so I'm assured that I'm not going to have a break off and lose that fish. And then from your steel leader, that would go right to your quick strike rig, which is right here. So, like I said, there's so many different variations and ways you can set these up and ways you can utilize these. That's going to catch you a lot more fish when you're out on the water. That, and it's a super basic, simple way to do it. Anybody can fish tip-ups. Alright, so here's what I have set up for pike. So the Dacron line ties straight to the steel leader, and then that comes down to your swivel, like that, and then that'll go to your quick strike rig. So if you want to have ones preset, you can tie all this at home. It'll save you a lot of grief and headache out on the ice when your hands are cold. So one thing I've come up with, and they sell these, but this works really well, is just a strip of Velcro. You could buy it in a roll, just like that. And all you're going to do is just wrap that around your spool. And you can do this with the leader in there and everything. And you just wrap that Velcro around there, and then it keeps your line from coming undone. Because getting your tip-ups tangled up in the bucket isn't fun. Nobody wants to mess with that when they're out on the ice. Alright, so first off, we're going to talk about setting up your quick strike rig for pike. So like I said, this tip up here has got the steel leader already attached. So you're just going to undo your barrel or your snap swivel at the end. And you're going to attach your quick strike rig right to it. Now, there's different laws in different states. In Minnesota, to consider this a lure so that it is legal, you must have a little spinner on there. So you got to have some type of blade or beads or something to consider this a lure, or else you're fishing with two hooks and that's illegal. Now, once again, that's Minnesota. A lot of states are different, so make sure you check your local regs. Now, this is also made of steel leader. This top hook here will slide up and down, so if you're fishing with, a smaller sucker minnow, you can space it. If you're fishing with a big sucker minnow, or some guys use hot dogs or frozen bait, you can extend this up. So what you're going to want to do is this top treble hook. I hook mine right behind the dorsal fin of my bait fish. And then this back one goes right above the tail. So a lot of times when pike come up to these, this minnow is going to be moving around, swimming around a little bit. They're going to come up and they're going to watch it from a distance. And when they strike, they're going to come from the back. So that's giving you two chances to set that treble hook into the pike's mouth. So like I said, these are adjustable. So the ones I use are made by HT. This is the package right here. So it's an HT. It's a number 8 with a number 27 hook. And these are, let's see here. These are also 27-pound test line. So I've never had one of these break or fail. So I would highly recommend this for your application. Now, when you're all done fishing for the day, you just undo your snap swivel. Your quick strike rig comes off. And you can wrap your line back up on your spool and put your Velcro back on there. Like I said, a simple way to keep everything from getting tangled up, twisted up. Velcro goes back on like that. Wraps around your swivel. Alright, now, one thing you can add to your quick strike rig, once again, check your local regulations, but one thing you can add to your quick strike rig here is a stinger hook. So these guys are made by Northland Tackle. So it's just a light piece of monofilament with a treble hook. So if you're, and I wouldn't recommend using all these unless you're planning on keeping the fish. If you're planning on doing catch and release, obviously you don't want to, get the fish tore up. But if you're planning on taking the fish home and eating them, then it's not that big of a deal. So, like I said, the more hooks, the better. You're going to increase your chances of getting that fish top side. And those right there, so those are 1.1 long, just a small little stinger hook. So that's in addition to your quick strike rig. All right, so let's talk about leaders. So tons of different people make leaders. Once again, I typically go with 30-pound tests, and you want to go at minimum 12 inches because, as we all know, pike fight really aggressively, and they're going to wrap up in that leader. They're going to get it back in their gill plates, and that's typically what cuts your line. So you want to use at least a 12-inch leader. These guys in the pack here are 36-inch, so these are even longer. But if you're fishing deep water, this might work. Shallow water, it might not because you're adding a whole lot of length to the end of that line. But you definitely want to use, high-quality steel leader. I picked these up at Shields. These guys are Eagle Claws. Both a good choice for your steel leader material. All right, so next we're going to talk about how to set your tip-ups up. So once you get everything all set up and you're ready to fish, you got your bait applied, you got your bait on your hook. What you're going to do is I got my little tube of weights. You're going to grab your depth marker, and this is just going to help your rig get to the bottom quicker. Now, I do use my Vexilar to tell where this is at. So this is just going to clip on your bottom hook. You're going to drop this straight down to the bottom. You got your transducer in the water from your Vexilar, and that's going to tell you exactly where you need to set this. So if you're fishing over some weeds, say the weeds are coming up to, 6 feet, you want to fish at 8 or 10 feet. So you're just above the weed tops. You're going to drop this down, look on your Vexilar, see where your bait is sitting. And then what I like to do is just use a larger split shot. Some guys use bobbers. You can use all kinds of buttons. You can use all sorts of things to mark your line. So once your bait's down where it needs to be, you're just going to apply this split shot. And what that's going to do is it's going to prevent you from having to use your electronics every single time. So once you get that tip up set for that location, you don't have to worry about it. And when you go back to reset, you're just going to drop it down till you get to that split shot outside your eyelet. And then your rig is set exactly where it was set the first time where you caught that first fish. And I just keep a little pile of these in a little plastic tube, throw them in a Ziploc bag, but just a basic lead split shot is all I use as a line marker. All right, so one other thing I wanted to talk about is obviously this flag is going to indicate a strike. It's going to pop up. That flag is going to alert you that there's a fish there or that you need to go check it out. Now, when you approach this tip up, you don't want to run at it full speed. If you're a ways away, it's fine to run up to a certain point. But when you're getting up close to the tip up, you want to go ahead and walk. No reason to make that fish run further than it needs to, for the simple fact that you're going to be fighting it by hand. There's no drag system. There's no reel. So you're just basically hand lining this fish in. Now, if it's running like crazy and you burn through the line on your spool, you're going to be in trouble. So just approach it kind of slow. You're going to see this line, this top going like that. You're going to see it spinning like that. That's how you know you got something on there. That fish has got his bait and he's swimming away. So what you're going to do is you're going to lift this up out of the hole, just like this. You're going to pull off some line, sit your tip up off to the side. And then what I like to do is just slowly pull that line until I feel tension. Then you can set your hook and go ahead and bring it in. One important thing to remember, you don't ever want to wrap that line around your hand or around your fingers because it'll cut into your skin. And if you've got a really big fish on it, could cause some other issues. So just pull it off, nice steady streams of line, and get that fish topside. Now, when you are inside of a shack fishing, say, this flag goes off, you're not going to hear anything. So you're constantly opening and looking out the window. One simple thing we do is just attach just a little bell with a clamp. So they sell these at Walmart. It's a couple dollars for a 2-pack of these. And we'll go ahead and just attach this right at the base of our flag, like that. And then when that fish goes, that bell rings. So you got that extra indication on there that you got a flag going off. Now, there's companies out there who have lights that go on the top of these, flags that glow. There's ones that have buzzers. When this flag goes off, it sounds a buzzer. There's even one out that will send you a text message on your smartphone. It's got a transmitter on it. So if you're, fishing and it's cold and dark and you don't want to go out there if you don't have to check your tip up, you can go ahead and put that on there and you'll get a text message in your warm fish house letting you know you got a flag that you got to go check out. Now, like I said, I keep all of my tip ups right here in this 5-gallon bucket. Spin that up, tuck my flag in. So here in Minnesota, you're allowed 2 lines in the wintertime. So if there's 3 of you, you can run 6 tip ups. There's 4 of you, you can run 8. So you can cover a lot of water with minimal effort. Get these set up. They're great for when you take the kids out. They're great on nice days when you can hang out on the ice, talk with your friends, grill some burgers or have a little fire going, and you can really enjoy your time on the ice and not be diligently fishing. Let the tip ups do the work for you. But like I said, mine all go in this 5-gallon bucket. I've got a little plastic puck like this. I think I found this at a craft store for beads. They screw together, but all my leaders go in there. I keep my weights, you saw earlier, keep my weights in a little plastic tube like that. I don't have it with me right now, but normally I store my quick strike rigs on a pool noodle. So I'll go ahead and get that. I'll go ahead and get a photo up on my Instagram. Head over and check that out here. In the next couple of days, I'll get that put up for you guys and show you how I store these quick strike rigs. But like I said, everything goes in the 5-gallon bucket. So when I'm going out tip-up fishing, grab it, throw it in the sled, and I'm off. Like I said, check your local regs, find out what laws you have in your state. But here in Minnesota, we're allowed to have 2 lines. And I believe you have to be 100 yards away from your tip-up at all times so that you don't get too far away. But, I've gone out on really cold days, put up my tip-ups, and sat in the truck with the heat on and watched a movie. So it's pretty much endless as to how you want to fish these. But if you're, in your shack jigging and you don't have a dead stick set up, throw a tip-up out. I mean, take advantage of the ability to have 2 lines in your, in the water at all times. So increase your chances of catching a fish that day. All right, so let's talk about line. You can use traditional braid on tip-ups, but like I said, you're going to be fighting that fish by hand. So you want something that's going to be really manageable. What's been popular forever and ever, and it's what I use, is just a basic Dacron. I really like the stuff that Beaver Dam puts out. But this stuff is relatively inexpensive, $6 for a big roll of it, and you'll fill your spool up no problem. So this stuff, wicks moisture. It does really good in the cold, and it's reliable. Here at Tired Axe Outdoors, we're talking about getting families outdoors. We're talking about getting people outdoors and not having to break the bank. So there's endless possibilities. As with anything in the fishing industry, you can spend a little, you can spend a lot. We like to find the middle of the road. We like to find the stuff that works well and isn't going to cost you an arm and a leg. All right, guys, so that's going to wrap it up for this episode. Hope you enjoyed talking about tip-ups. If you guys have any comments or questions, make sure to leave those down in the comments below, or you can get a hold of us over on Instagram. That being said, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button, like the videos, share the videos here on YouTube, as well as over on Instagram. Hit us up there at Tired Axe Outdoors. That, and we want to announce a really exciting opportunity here for us at Tired Axe Outdoors. So we have a website that we just got up and running. We've got some of our shirts and our merch on there, some stickers. So make sure you head over and check that out as well, tiredaxeoutdoors.com. So we're really excited. We're going to be adding some blog posts, photos, all sorts of stuff. And that's going to give you guys the opportunity to pick up some of our merch, whether it be shirts or stickers, and support the channel. So if you like what you're seeing, head over to there and hit us up. Pretty excited about that. All right, guys, until next time, we'll talk to you later. Stay safe. All right, bye-bye.